because somewhere along the way, your mind learned that needs create conflict. Hi everyone, welcome back to Heal and Bloom. Have you ever noticed how quickly you say I'm sorry even when you didn't do anything wrong? You would say, I'm sorry for asking, I'm sorry for needing help, I'm sorry for feeling hurt. Today we're going to talk about why that happens and how experiences like emotional neglect, criticism, or abuse can quietly teach us to feel guilty for simply having needs. And if this is something that you struggled with, you may recognize yourself more in this video than you expect. So let's begin. For many people, apologizing for their needs didn't start in adulthood. It started in environments where expressing a need didn't feel safe. Maybe when you said you were tired, you were told you were being dramatic. When you said something hurt, you were told you were being too sensitive. And when you asked for support, you were told you were asking for too much. Over time, something quiet begins to happen. You start minimizing your needs, softening your voice, explaining yourself before anyone even asks. Eventually, I need something turns into, I'm sorry, but could I? Not because you're weak, but because somewhere along the way, your mind learned that needs create conflict. So apologizing became protection. Many of us became the strong one, the easy one, the understanding one, the low maintenance one. Many people even praised you for it. You're so strong. You're so independent. You never complain. But what many people didn't see is the cost. Because strength built on survival looks like handling everything yourself, hesitating to ask for help, and replaying conversations wondering if you were too much. Sometimes it even shows up in small ways. You may say things like, I'm sorry for bothering you. I'm sorry this is probably silly. I'm sorry I might be overthinking. You soften the request before anyone even responds. You minimize what you feel. Sometimes you even apologize for apologizing. If you ever caught yourself doing that, you're not alone. When you spend a long time apologizing for your needs, something subtle begins to happen. You start believing that needing support means you're weak or difficult. But the truth is, having needs is not a character flaw. It's part of being human. And throughout Scripture, we see something important about God's heart towards our needs. In 1 Peter 5:7, it says, Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. He cares, not tolerates, not endures, not grow impatient with. He cares. God doesn't invite us to come to him once we've figured everything out. He invites us to come with our needs, with our fears, with our questions, with parts of our lives where we feel overwhelmed. And if God doesn't shame our needs, we don't have to shame it either. For many people, realizing this truth doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it begins with one small moment of awareness. This became clearer to me through my own experience. My ex had full access to my phone. I didn't hide anything. But when I asked for the same type of access to his phone, I got shut down. I wasn't asking because I wanted control. I was asking because I wanted reassurance. But instead of being heard, I was made to feel guilty for even asking. I couldn't open up his mail. I didn't have access to his email either, even though he had access to all of mine. And when I questioned that, I was told he had nothing to hide and that my request was a violation of his privacy. And what made it more confusing was a double standard. The same access that was normal for him to have suddenly became wrong when I asked for it too. So instead of feeling reassured, I started feeling ashamed. Ashamed for needing reassurance and ashamed for asking questions. And over time, I started believing that my need for clarity and safety was somehow wrong. But looking back now, I realize that wanting reassurance in a relationship was not unreasonable. And needing honesty and transparency is not something anyone should have to apologize for. Sometimes healing begins when we realize the guilt we carried was never actually ours. As healing begins, something starts to shift. You begin noticing how often you apologize for things that were never actually wrong, for asking questions, for expressing emotions, for needing reassurance. And sometimes healing begins with something very simple. You pause and you ask yourself, would I expect someone else to apologize for this? Because often the compassion we extend to others is the same compassion that we struggle to extend to ourselves. So healing can begin in small moments of awareness. Instead of saying, I'm sorry for bothering you, you say, is this a good time? Instead of saying, I'm sorry, I'm emotional, you say, I'm feeling a lot right now. At first, this may feel uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar. For a long time, your mind learned that having needs could lead to conflict, rejection, or shame. Now you're teaching it something different. That your voice matters, your feelings matter, and your needs deserve space too. Before we end, I want to leave you with something practical to reflect on this week. Start paying attention to the moments when you automatically say, I'm sorry. And when you notice it happening, pause for a moment and ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong? Or did I simply express a need? Because there's a difference. It simply means you're a person who was created for connection, honesty, and care. And learning to honor those needs is part of healing. So this week, try replacing one automatic apology with something honest. A clear request, a truthful feeling, or simply allowing yourself to exist without shrinking. Small steps like that are how we begin rebuilding trust with ourselves. Until next time, please take care. And remember, your voice and your needs matter too. Bye.